Genesis 6 narrative states that the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join me as we go on the trail of the Nephilim.
There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim. I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Welcome to another episode of On the Trail. I'm holding a very large spear. It's obviously a replica, and we'll tell you about that in just a moment. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor.
Recent forecasts predict that the summer of 2024 will be one of the hottest ever on record, with temperatures expected to soar into the triple digits in many areas. The Northeast, Midwest, and even parts of the Pacific Northwest are expected to experience above normal temperatures. And likely with that, drum roll please, normal energy bills for households will be absolutely on the rise. Folks, this is why Peggy and I stay cool with this magical little device. I love the cool air, cost savings, and peace of mind it brings me. This device fills my home or office or the studio with icy cold air without traditional electricity. It's a potential lifesaver if a blackout ever does occur during one of these upcoming deadly heat waves. Folks, as I said earlier, it was 110 degrees on the other side of the Santa Monica Mountains last week. I've never seen it that hot. The new version includes InstaFrost technology that uses revolutionary frost jets to get an instant blast of polar air. Simply place it anywhere you need to cool off and enjoy up to 25 hours of freezing cold air from virtually anywhere. Make yourself as happy and as cool as I am this summer by visiting www.easysummercool.com. That's www.easysummercool.com, easysummercool.com, or simply click the link in the description box below for up to 60% off today with a 60-day risk-free guarantee and fast USA shipping.
I'm here in Indianapolis. We spoke last night at the Lifeway Church. Pastor Neil Bell and his lovely wife Michelle, and just the crowd and everybody, and Joe and Job in the sound booth. And it was just really a great romp. And thanks for coming out. But Pastor Neil was telling me about the replica of Goliath's spear that he has in his office. And so here I am. We took it out of the office. It gives you an idea. Now, I'm a 6-foot male. If Goliath was, let's say, 10 feet or 12 feet, then this thing makes a lot of sense. And what Pastor Neil did is he took the description of it that's in our Bible and had a replica of it made with a counterweight, and of course you see the spearhead up here. I can pick it up. There's no way I could use this as a weapon. It's way too big and very unwieldy. But can you imagine if you're David and you're, let's say, 5'7", 5'8", whatever, and all of Israel is cowering. They're cowering because Goliath is there. And Goliath is like 9, 10, maybe 11, 12 feet tall. We don't know. Different people have different opinions on that. But let's say he's a 9-footer. That's huge. Because when you go up, you go out. When you go up in height, you go out. And there's a picture that we have of Big John, who's only 7 feet. I'm 6 feet. I look like a dwarf next to that man. I'll try to dig up that picture and show you what I mean. The bottom line is, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards. There were other incursions. And what's interesting, we've talked about this, is Gath was one of the cities that was not conquered by Joshua and Caleb. Makes you wonder why didn't they go in there? And of course, Goliath is from Gath. Another interesting point here to think about is David takes a sling and he takes 4 of the rocks. And I got this from Chuck Missler. So basically it's for Goliath's brothers, which is really incredible. And he insults Goliath, who's just scoffing at him and laughing at him, and basically says, today, you'll be, the Lord's going to deliver you. Which of course we know the story. That stone sinks into his forehead, down Goliath goes. He takes Goliath's sword and decapitates him. In our opinion, the place of the skull, Golgotha, Goliath of Gath, and I realize that might be a stretch for some of you linguistically, but we believe that that skull was taken to Golgotha. And if that's true, and Jesus is crucified on the place of the skull, it has unbelievable cosmic implications. So the spear allegedly was taken also, as well as the sword. Goliath's sword was on display. David brought it back to him. So the Nephilim were on the earth in those days. There are people who scoff at this and say, well, Goliath was only maybe 6.5 feet. I don't believe that for a minute. Because when you take the measurements that are in the Bible, and it's like a weaver's beam right here. There's the weaver's beam. And the counterbalance, you're looking at something that there's no way in a million years even a 7-foot man can wield. But when you're up around 9, 10, maybe 12 feet, it's a whole different story. And this is why the children of Israel would not engage, but David did. So we've all heard this before. Are there giants in your life? And I get that. That's a cool analogy. But the Nephilim were the giants of old. And isn't it interesting how Joshua and Caleb left the 3 cities of Gaza, Gath, and Ashkelon unconquered from the Nephilim. I am Marzulli. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back again. Once again, hats off to Pastor Neil and his lovely wife Michelle and the whole crew here at Lifeway. If you're in Indianapolis, this is a great church to go to. Highly recommend it. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim. Thanks for watching.
Officials endeavoring to obtain all flying saucers.
Marcel's own words, it was something that he'd never seen before. Something from another world. In our opinion, Marcel was a patsy.
Just verbal directions, we know what about it.
But his father was telling the truth.
He dug in the eye and he said, it really happened. And he held his hand up just like this. They had 6 fingers, not 5.
He said they looked quite a bit like us.
Do you think your grandfather was a patsy?
100%.
Cover up by the U.S. military.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
I can't discuss in public setting.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries.
He deliberately obfuscated and they lied to the American people.
When the Pentagon decided to lie about what happened at Roswell.
Because standing 6 feet away, this little being about 3.5 foot tall.
She said the nurses who were there during the crash, they're now at a convent.
The first book that Randall wrote. And he said to Jess, he said, that's not fiction.
But for everybody, I mean, this is a human thing. It's a worldwide changing, be life-changing for everyone.
Was certainly not a weather balloon and not something from this earth.